You worked with Angela Merkel, you know her well. So I guess the question is, why is she doing this now? Why has Angela Merkel shifted her policy priorities so quickly and is now pushing for this recovery fund?
Well, firstly, it's not only Angela Merkel, it's the whole German government that decides about a question like this. And there have been discussions quite vividly the last 2 years already if this austerity this path that was taken after the financial crisis, if that was really the right way to go. So it is not that sudden as it seems. And the second point is that it is a completely different situation than in the financial crisis. Here, the virus came and it was nobody's fault. And even you see that the countries that are hit the most, like Italy and Spain, are still suffering from the consequences of the financial crisis and the austerity. Their health system is a lot poorer than because they had to cut down a lot. So I think there was a learning process, and it's a good signal also, especially now for the presidency, of course, being less, let's say, egoistic, more European.
And I guess you could also argue Germany does have an interest here in having a strong European economy, a strong single market. Germany makes very good products, but it has to sell them to other countries. Do you think there's an element here of self-preservation too?
Oh, there's certainly an element to that, but that was the same argument already in the financial crisis. I mean, this is always very important for Germany because the European Union is by far the largest market for German products. And that is what we convinced Europeans keep telling German public all the time. It's our self-interest also to have a strong European Union.
And you keep mentioning the German public. For many years, for German voters, the idea of more risk sharing between European countries, the idea of more debt was really a red line. But Angela Merkel is now saying, taking on more debt, it's not going to be a problem now. It's good for the recovery. We need this. How is that affecting the German psyche? What's changed?
I think it is very important to see that this is a limited program. And it's not about old debts. That is very important. I think German public does not see the need or feel responsible for old debts of member states. But this is debts or costs because of the virus, because of the current crisis. And there, everybody, I think, feels the need for solidarity.
And next week, there's a very important EU summit that's happening here. There's a lot of expectation built into it. But the question is, Angela Merkel wants an early deal. Can she get it by next Friday?
It's difficult to say. I mean, it's only 4 countries that have a different opinion. And if you talk to every one of them, they do, I think, see the need for moving. In my opinion, the hardest part will be the Dutch case because they have this internal rivalry between the finance minister and the prime minister about the next elections maybe, and it's always bad if internal affairs mingle into these European questions. So I think with the Swedish, the Danish and hopefully the Austrian we can cope. The Dutch might be a harder issue.
So do you think it's an early deal, or is it going to take a summer negotiation?
I think it might take another one, but who knows? It's not a comfortable position to be like the bad guys, and I don't think they expected to be seen as the bad guys, which they are, I think, in most of the public opinion.
And I wonder, going back to Mark Rutte, I know that he's been criticized in the German public opinion, especially the more center-left parties have said that this is not the time to play politics, given the economic crisis that we're seeing. How is this affecting the relationship between the Netherlands and Germany? Do you see any diplomatic tension?
No. This is the normal diplomatic ongoing discussions between member states. No, I think it might be a backlash for the Dutch government, because now everybody talks about their tax saving schedules and about lack of solidarity there, because, I mean, Benetton and Fiat, for example, Italian companies are paying their taxes in the Netherlands because of some, and probably don't even have very many workers there.
And I'm always curious, do you think Mark Rutte, and I know this is almost entering into the idea of public opinion and personal opinion, do you think he likes playing the role of, quote, the bad guy? He's doing well in polls.
Well, all the governments, especially the leading parties in the governments, are doing well in polls. That is part of crisis, the normal phenomenon of crisis. I just married a Dutchman, so I know the Netherlands quite well, and I know that Mark Rutte is popular. So I think that that he might be the right guy to also, find a compromise. I think that is also what his people expect from him.
And just switching over from Angela Merkel to von der Leyen, who also worked for a German cabinet with, you and Merkel too. How is she dealing with these crises? Because I know at the beginning there was criticism that she seemed almost overwhelmed by just how quickly everything was happening.
Well, there was a lot of criticism, and I think that was correct, that it started too late and there was too little effort in the beginning. But I think you have to blame a lot also the member states for that, because they, at the beginning, everybody tried to make a point, to show to their public that they were active and doing something. And this is also part of our problem in European politics, that national governments need to present themselves and make points, even if it would be better to shift more competences towards the European Union. So I think, yes, she could have done more, but the member states could have done more.
And it's a German presidency. Angela Merkel is German. Von der Leyen is also German. Just how synchronized do you think the two of them are in this?
They get along very well. They have been working together for a very long time, and I think it can be very useful for the European Union that there are so many strong German women around.